It is Friday, and I am tired of being thoughtful and substantive, so instead, I am going to be informative with some very funny men about the best things that happened, or the worst things that happened, across our Spinning Blue Marble this week. We're going to do a Friday release valve episode. This is just verbal catharsis for us participants and you listeners. You're not going to learn anything, but you will hopefully enjoy it, as we will. So we're going to talk about some of the, I believe, underreported headlines of the week. I am joined today by two very funny men, friends of the show, Chad Prather, who is a comedian, and you're the host of like 3 different shows. What shows are you the host of, Chad?
Just the Chad Prather show now. Everything else got canceled.
Oh, well, you know what? I do sympathize with you, buddy. I do have a little bit of empathy there. And,
there you go.
And Josh Jennings, producer emeritus and friend of the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Heaton. Glad to be back as always.
Thank you. Coming to us first from Western Australia, my favorite part of Australia, in the town of, Nannup? Which, I'm not even into the story yet. All of the towns in Western Australia sound like they're named after the sound of tennis shoes thumping around a dryer. Like I've been to that country, and like Eastern Australia is all named after like the local white guy that planted a flag. Western Australia, you're like, hey, I'm visiting Jed, about 5 miles north. You know where to go? And they're like, all right, you need to go past Bibbidi Bloop Bloop, and then you take a corner over at Smigadoo. And anyway, this is Nannup. In Nannup, Australia, headline, months ago, emus started showing up at a tiny Australian town. They're not leaving. So just emus have started drifting in. They're from Australia, so it's not supernatural. They've started drifting into Nannup and making it their home. And this is basically, imagine like Alva, Oklahoma, or Hope, Kansas, or some tiny Texas panhandle town. Imagine if just like ostriches just started wandering into town, and like you wake up and you're gonna, you're having your morning coffee, you're thinking about watering your tomatoes, and there's like 3 or 4 ostriches in your garden. That's basically what's happening in this Australian town, and it is prompting, from what I can tell, the greatest town council meetings in all of human history, where they're getting these Australians in the room, and some of them are like, well, I like that we're in an emu town now. I think it's kind of neat. It's us apart from these other towns named after shoes in the dryer. And then the local other guy will go, nah, we should kill him. We should get either a gun or we should get a fire hose and blast them, and then they fight. And so far they're sticking around. I think it's really cool. I'm pro emu. I think this is a neat development to occur to a town. What do you think, Jennings?
I am almost positive this is how Mad Max started.
Yeah, that is the kickoff for a great film. Yeah, Chad, are you pro or anti-emu? Would you be in favor of culling them or breeding them?
Look, I'm all for the emus as long as they're on somebody else's property. Once they come to my house and start messing around with stuff, then I have a little bit of a problem with it. I don't trust a 6-foot bird that travels in packs. That's scary. That's a whole new Hitchcock film right there. I hear the meat is delicious. It is cholesterol-free red meat, so who knows?
I've had it. It's actually really good.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like meat but for vegans.
I'm going to roll the dice. I would, being from Oklahoma, being a beloved son, a native son of Oklahoma, I am aware of statistics, and I am more afraid of dying from diabetes than I am of being killed by a bird. And so, for me, it seems to be a better play if I had the option of living in a town with 6-foot-tall, deadly birds that can't give me cholesterol or less of it, versus just eating the regular amount of hamburgers I currently consume. That seems to be the safer play.
You're not going to die from the diabetes?
No, sir. So I looked into this. I enjoy, like I said, I'm familiar with Western Australia. I was briefly a diplomat for a small country located inside of Western Australia, so I have some familiarity with it. And I am aware that Nannup is it's the general area of what is called the Great Emu War. Are either of you familiar with this incredible chapter of Australian history?
Not a bit.
I've written an entire volume, like 6-volume set of history books on this. But yeah, go ahead.
You are the McCullough of large birds slaughtered in Australia. That is true. The David McCullough of bird volumes.
No, of course we haven't heard of this. Tell us about it.
Thank you very much. So, Jennings, while our relatives were, avoiding dust storms and standing around in bread lines and living in caves during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, what they were doing in Western Australia was fending off thousands and thousands of emus that descended. So emus native to Australia, they will just sort of, from what I can tell, migrate in mass if there's like a drought or something. So these farmers living in Western Australia, which again, if you've not been there, just picture Kansas. It's basically Kansas with kangaroos. That's what Western Australia is. So these dudes are just like farming wheat, and all of a sudden, like over the horizon, 20,000 emus will suddenly like pop into view, and while they're not attacking people, they are eating, like they're ruining the wheat crops. I have no idea what emus eat, but in any event, it's a major problem. So the Western Australia farmers start hitting up the parliament, and they're like, you got to send in the army. You got to send the army in to kill these things. And they do. Or basically, the Western Australian government gets the Australian military to loan them a bunch of machine guns, and they find some farmers that used to be in the military. And so they're like, all right, let's do it. And they go off, and they like 3 times try to kill all of these emus. And I read the statistics on this. The first battle of the emus, they spent 2,500 rounds of ammunition, and they killed 50 emus. Now, I'm not a military expert, but I feel like that for an animal that can't shoot back, I feel like that is not a high accuracy rate. But you could read the accounts of these guys that are like, oh my God, these are like, we fought the Zulu, and I'd fight the Zulu again. Emus are even harder to kill. Like if we had the internal armor of an emu, we'd be undefeated as a country. And they ended up like culling these beasts, and they had 2 or 3 battles, and finally ended up killing a bunch of them. And might have actually stopped a Western Australian secessionist movement, because a bunch of the farmers wanted to leave, and they're like, oh, I don't know, Canberra gave us all these machine guns to kill the birds with. Oh, we'll stick around for now. So good job, emus, for uniting Australia.
They should have just gotten a couple of tyrannosaurs. I think that like the scene from Jurassic Park that comes to mind when you say that. And
Australia might have them. It's got weird animals. I could see that going on. Well, we'll jump back to...
They move fast, I hear. They're fast.
Are they? Okay, so like I assume that they're more dangerous than or I think they're less dangerous than an ostrich. I don't know, honestly. I don't really know how they compare to ostriches.
So I knew of a guy who had an exotic animal farm in North Alabama. He had an ostrich that basically split him in half with that huge dinosaur talon that they have. And not only that, the emus, while not as dangerous as the ostrich, equally as fast. And when they come over the horizon in gangs of 20,000, it's like living in 1870 in the Comancheria of West Texas, and the Apaches come along with the Comanches on the midnight moons, or the Comanche moons. But they don't steal your wheat; they steal your virgins in that case. So thankfully, the emus aren't doing that.
Right.
Scary stuff.
They're like I suspect that it's probably about kind of like a velociraptor. When I was out of college, I was a substitute teacher till they asked me to stop. And one of the things I would do is I would go into like a 4th grade class and be like, all right, you know the drill. I'm a substitute teacher. Here's some busy work. Don't do anything that gets you in trouble. Don't do anything that gets me in trouble. We're going to be fine. If you can plow through this, we'll do something fun. And so they do like the math worksheet or whatever that was, training these children to sit at a desk for 8 hours, because that was the point. And then I'm like, all right, well, hey, guess what? Today is Velociraptor Awareness Day. And I would just like commission the kids to study velociraptors. And they came back like, apparently velociraptors are not at all like they were in Jurassic Park. First of all, they had feathers, and they were like 4 feet tall. So they were basically like danger chickens. So like that is, so emus in effect.
Well, my mother got trapped in an outhouse when she was a kid with a rooster. So just imagine a rooster plus 200 pounds.
Yeah.
It can be a little scary.
And I got to say, roosters are dicks. If a rooster were 6 feet tall, I would want it dead right now, like wherever we're on the planet. That's an enemy species, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So an emu can run about 30 miles an hour, and they've been known to eviscerate smaller animals, reasonably safe to human beings. But if you got pests, really good.
Okay, yeah. I think the overall point, though, 20,000. Like 20, I think 20 is feasible. 20, you just wear a helmet. Wear a helmet and goggles when you go outside. You're probably fine. Maybe a codpiece. 20,000, you need to have like a hidey hole that you could Cormac McCarthy up in until the emus burn themselves out.
And machine guns.
And there too, I got to go back to this. Like reading these accounts of the Great Emu War. So the first time they try and take out the emu, like I think like they like rain happened and the emu like all spread out. Like you could read it. They're like apparently emus have like alpha emus that will like form tactical things. They do like guerrilla warfare tactics and things where they start like hiding behind hills and they pop out. The second time where they're like, all right, this time for keeps, we're going to kill these things. They attach these Lewis guns, which is a form of machine gun to like a Jeep, or I don't know. It's 1932, I think. So they're attaching these to like a Model A, right? And they're just like bounding down these roads on a Model A with a machine gun strap, trying to fire them. Not very easy to fire, like to aim a machine gun. So they're just like randomly shooting clouds and blasting hills. And if they're anything like the Australians I know, they're probably already 3 sheets to the wind. So they're
gentlemen, we are writing this war movie.
This is our Dunkirk.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump back to our hemisphere. We're going to go to California. Man climbs under moving big rig filled with wine, begins drinking from tank.
This is my favorite story.
Yeah, this like I watched some of the video footage of this. It's like it was someplace in California. I don't remember, Modesto or someplace, but there's effectively an oil tanker, except it's wine. And this guy flashes his lights at the tanker, and the tanker's like, "Oh, I bet I've got a tail light out. I'm going to pull over and engage with this helpful citizen." And the guy disappears or something, and then with the tanker looks back, the guy is spread eagle underneath the tanker doing snow angels. He's unfastened the valve for the wine and is just guzzling as much wine as he can. They estimate that they lost 1,000 gallons of wine that this guy tried to drink directly from the spigot. And I gotta say, nothing like drinking wine fresh out of a truck. That is the freshest wine you can get.
Yeah, most places have 16th and 17th century containers with cork. This guy really let it breathe. I don't know what it tastes like coming out of a stainless tank like that. And how do you know it's wine? I mean, is there a certain identifying trait to the truck to know that it's wine?
Oh, that's a good point.
A bit sulfuric acid.
That is a really good point. It could be that he was like, could be wine, could be glue. Got to take that chance. I don't know when I'm going to have access to 1,000 gallons of wine again, if it's that.
I mean, unless it just says on the side of the truck, like Sauvignon truck or something like that.
This is, I've heard of box wine, but truck wine, that's a whole new thing. But I know people who would polish it off. I don't know how you let that breathe. I really don't.
You know what I'm thinking now? I think you could probably make a pretty good business model, which I'm going to ask Chad. I'll partner with you on this if you find the seed money. Hold on. This is a great idea. In fact,
we'll call it truck carafes.
Well, I was going to say wine sprinklers. So you just you've got like regular garden variety. Exactly. You got garden variety sprinklers and you plug them into this tank and you just roll into what I have to assume is spring break and just start just pass out cups and be like, here you go. Everybody get naked and just start spraying out the wine.
Yeah. Screw the ice cream truck. This is a whole thing. I don't know what kind of jingle would be playing over the loudspeaker. Maybe Baby's Got Back or something like that.
I think, red wine or something. I don't know.
Red wine. It's a little UB40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish that the truck had been moving, because then this would have been like a
the
thing
truck was moving.
Was the truck moving while the guy had his mouth under it?
So he was like
up to
oh, okay. So it is. It's like a jet refueling, like midair.
Yeah.
Just a thing of like a marvel of technology and beauty.
This is very much Cape Fear meets rampant alcoholism. This is the cute version of the story where someone's like, and the hook was hanging on the door. That guy's just guzzling wine. Of 1,000 gallons, how much do you think you could drink under that circumstance? I'm assuming there's pretty high wine pressure coming out. So it's sandblasting you in the face with wine. How much do you think you could realistically down?
I think it would be like trying to get a sip of water out of a fire hydrant.
Right. Yeah.
But you might absorb some through your skin.
At that pressure, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. What a way to go.
Yeah,
well, right?
I think the guy is alive. When he sobered up, he probably had the best story at the holding cell, where they're like, "What did you do?" "Well, I didn't wear a mask." "How about you?" "I reverse hijacked a wine truck and Cape Feared it until they realized that I'd spent 1,000 gallons of Merlot." Yeah,
right.
Kudos to that man, American hero. All right, we're going to jump over to our friends in Russia. Headline: To survive coronavirus lockdown, Russia recommends staying angry at family for less than 10 minutes. So the Department of Russian Mental Health Services, or whatever their equivalent is, has released a guide to not killing your family. They don't call it that. I think it's a guide to mental health or whatever. And they're like, hey, here's a pro tip. You're under lockdown with your family. Only be mad at them for 10 minutes. And I'm like, I read that and I was like, do Russians have like a different pantheon of feelings that I have? Can they do that? Can they have like an on-off switch? It doesn't appear to, but maybe. I don't know.
Instead of speed dating, they do speed fighting.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they just have a big old burst of angry, cathartic energy that they can time better than we. I smolder sometimes for years at a time. Maybe they just blast it out like a firework and then they're done.
I don't know, though. Listen, you've heard about makeup sex.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that if you
only heard about,
yeah. If you're purposefully getting mad at somebody in order to socially distance, I'm thinking that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea because I'm straight getting it on.
I, meanwhile, am just yelling at neighbors from my window in desperate hopes that I will trigger some sort of fight that will encourage them to have makeup sex with me. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
All right, so I will head over to New York. This is upstate New York.
This is my favorite story.
This guy is an American hero. Like I've thought about maybe the political orphanage should form its own navy, or alternately, I contact Prince Graham over in Hutt River and see if I can get this guy inducted into their navy because I do have some pull there. So this is CNY pizzeria owner transforms jet ski into mini pirate ship in spare time. It's exactly what it sounds like. This guy's handy. He knows woodworking. He built I think it looked to be like maybe a 6-7 foot boat, like a tiny 6 to 7 foot galleon that he built around his jet ski, hoisted up a sail and a Jolly Roger flag, and is now just cruising around the lake in a miniature pirate ship. And I believe this man is a hero.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I want to know. How the fuck are you going to kidnap Tom Hanks on that thing?
Well, he's tiny. He's very wee. So if you're able to get him and you've got a bungee cord, you can just toss him in the back.
Yeah.
And then you can go literally. What's that?
He's been weakened by the COVID.
That's true. You probably get him on there.
Far be it from me to encourage any foul play or illegal activity, but if you were planning on capturing Tom Cruise, now is the time. Tom Hanks. Either one. Now is the time to do it. People aren't paying attention, and everyone's been weakened by COVID. That's a good point. Yeah.
At what point in time does that cross your mind to say, I'm going to take this old jet ski and make a pirate ship out of it? And that's going to become newsworthy.
I think day 40 or whatever is about the time people really started getting creative. I bought, this is how bored I am. I bought a make your own watch kit. I am building my own watch because that seemed less sad than making a ship in a bottle.
You should see my penis. It looks like a lion that became a fireman. A really short lion with a small mane.
Well, I congratulate you on your prodigious hobby that you've been indulging in over the course of lockdown. How about you, Jennings? Have you've built a deck or something, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I did something a little bit more useful.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, I have not quaffed anything lately. I think that's illegal right now. So, I was thinking like this guy could theoretically, he could sneak this thing into the Pirates of the Caribbean ride once it reopens.
Oh.
And then he could both be a participant in it and a character.
I think that's a baller move. You know, last week on the program, I had on Brian Sack and Jack Helmuth, and there was a guy that got arrested in Florida for squatting on Discovery Island in Disney World, like their decommissioned animal island. He was just squatting there. And I was proposing at the time, I think the law should be if you can live in Disney undetected for a month, you're allowed to live there forever. But
Right.
if they catch you, you have to be a pirate at Pirates of the Caribbean for however long you were there. And I'm going to add to that, I think if you can get your own jet ski into Disney World, you should be allowed to ride it through the canal at Pirates of the Caribbean. That seems
Agreed.
fair.
Yeah.
I hung out with a biker club when I was in Scotland this last summer, and had a great time. I kind of hope biker clubs get into this because I think it'd be cool if biker clubs like converted into pirate gangs. That'd be neat.
Did our mutual friend Penson ever tell you about the time that we met the hippie pirates?
No, go on.
Yeah. We went to when he still lived in the same town as us. You were gone, but we went to a party where there was a van that was decked out as a pirate ship, and these hippies traveled around the country in this van as pirates. Now, granted, the only thing that they stole was like our olfactory virginity, but you know they were hippie pirates, and they went everywhere they wanted to go and partied wherever they wanted, and it was actually a lot of fun.
That sounds
it was cool.
Great. I am rapidly approaching the threshold of screw it, I'll live in a van. Like I'm about 3 weeks away from that, and that like they sound like cool people to team up with. Yeah. That might be my quest for the rest of the year. Is like I was going to try and get a wife or a dog or antidepressants, and since none of those things are panning out, maybe I'll just track down those pirates. Maybe that'll be what I do with my 2020.
Everybody's looking to join a club. I think everybody wants to be a part of a gang, right? They've closed the churches down, so you can't do that. We're all isolated. We can't go to the beach. We can't be around our friends. So, yeah, we just get on a rebels club, like a motorcycle pirate gang.
I like that. And I like in particular the logic of, well, I can't be a Pentecostal anymore, so I'm going to backup option is a pirate. And I'd be like, you know what? I will, when we reopen up, I will go to your church's barbecue, pirate Christian. You sound like a fun sort.
I'm going to climb under the truck and have some new wine.
That's right.
So we got
jump from the motorcycle.
We got
wine truck.
Two more stories to blow through. This one comes to us from Louisiana. Police are looking for a quote aggressive chicken terrorizing bank customers in Louisiana. It's a brief story. I read it, and there doesn't seem to be a lot to go off on. There's not a lot. I can't answer any questions that might be. I don't know why if it's a guard chicken that like somebody trained in lieu of a bulldog. Why it picked a bank? I have no idea. But it did. Did I send the bullet points to you guys on that one? I'm not sure. I think it was it was a bigger than average chicken. It was like a 4-foot chicken or something. It was like a larger chicken. And I, you know what? I take the exact same approach I did with the emus in Australia. I hope it proliferates throughout Louisiana. That seems like a cool thing in the bayou. If they have to deal with these guard chickens, I think that the locals, at least the ones who speak Cajun, will form an alliance with them, and they will become a defensive barrier to ne'er-do-wells.
And you can go to just about any place now and order chicken trigger fingers.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I mean, really, what can you say? I mean, that pretty much sums that up.
I was up at 1:00 in the morning writing that joke. Thank you very much.
Of course you were.
That is the best bird firearm pun that I have heard this week. So I will give you that. All right. Unless you've got dangerous chicken-related thoughts, Chad, I will move on to our final headline.
I went with that when I was talking about my mother. I almost lost my mother in an outhouse with a rooster. So, my theory on chickens is chickens are delicious. People fuck them up. They come delicious automatically, and that's what they're for.
Yeah, it's
some trigger fingers.
I think this would kind of be the equivalent of saying, "Oh no, a bunch of cows are showing up in our town, but they're angry." Great, free cows, angry. So it's delicious animals that are wandering into my town, but they're angry, and sometimes they attack people at banks. Okay, exactly. I'll take that. I'll live in that world. Yeah.
Exactly.
So here's our final story. People on social media are peeing in their pants on video because of lockdown boredom. So every few years, there's the ice bucket challenge or I don't remember the other ones, but there's some kind of challenge, right? A 19-year-old comedian in Kansas on camera goes, this is the pee your pants challenge, and he pees his pants, and it's taken off.
It becomes a thing.
It became a thing. He all of a sudden became the center of every BuzzFeed wannabe website in America. And his quote was great. He was like, "I had no idea if you peed your pants and just told people it's a challenge that they would do it and film it."
That's funny.
And this is my quick take on this. One, first of all, shout out to the Elizabeth Warren shirt he was wearing when he did it. I was like, good branding right there, kid. I'm glad that you were supporting your political candidate of choice while pissing your pants on video. That's a really good move. But the other thing that I've got is, when you go back to this is our emotional equivalent of the Great Depression. We're going to be telling our grandkids about this. They're going to ask us questions about it, right? You go back to the real Great Depression. There's pictures of Australians fucking fighting emus with machine guns, and in Oklahoma, there's these haggard pioneer women that, are just, dust swept. And there's, people in New York and bread lines. And for 2020, for our coronavirus lockdown, I hope it's a 19-year-old kid wearing an Elizabeth Warren T-shirt pissing himself on purpose. I hope that is the visual meme of this whole period.
I'll just say I've been pissing myself since long before the internet and before this thing, and I had no idea that you could actually make a living on this.
Yeah, you could turn it into a movement.
Yeah, apparently so. Just piss yourself. I mean, what is the line from the movie? It says, if pee in your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
I was gonna say the original version of that was from Billy Madison, which makes the item number 56 on the list of the worst things that Adam Sandler has done to American culture.
You don't like Billy Madison?
I don't like Adam Sandler.
Whoa!
I'll take it a step further.
Hey, I like that last movie where he got shot in the face.
I've missed that one. I'll have to watch it.
That's
sounds
Jim's,
awesome.
Right? That was he's like a dramatic actor. I like Billy Madison. I thought it was a really funny film.
Yeah.
I assumed, by the way, Uncut Gems was a reference to him being Jewish.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to give you what. That's actually better than the trigger finger joke. But it took me a second. I had to Jennings. I literally had to run that through my head of did Jennings just say something racist? And then I was like, no. He's just making a pun about circumcision. And I was like, oh, that's fine then. Puns about circumcision are okay. I'm going to give it to Jennings. Good job, Jennings. I like that one. Good job. Thanks. And I like Happy Gilmore because there's that great scene where Bob Barker beats the shit out of him. That was out of the blue cameo involving violence with a beloved figure of American TV. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm fine. Look, seeing him getting shot, getting beaten up. If somebody wants to pee on him, I mean, I'm not that much of an anti Adam Sandler. But
Adam Sandler. You know what?
I like Jennings. I find unjustified hatred funny. Not when it's against races and things, but just
right.
like my friend Hepburn in Scotland just hates chimpanzees. He's picked this one species that he hates, and we went to the zoo one time, and he's like, "Oh God, I hate those things. They look like us, but they're stronger and they're hairy. They should shoot all of them. I'm on Team Human."
Did you tell him that's what we think about Scottish people?
Yeah, and then one of them ran me through with a pitchfork, and then I briefly married one. It was a crazy weekend. It was an absolutely crazy weekend. And well, guys, I'm gonna cap it off there. It was delightful talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, good times.
It's the exact word I was looking for.
Jennings, you've got a bunch of projects that are percolating, and you'll be on the program in due course, both on this and the sci-fi program. So people will be getting you, and I'll expose you to your stuff. You do sell books, though. You want to plug those?
I'm not selling books yet. I am working. I've got a book in the working. I don't want to talk about that just yet, but I do actually have some short stories on my Amazon author page. Just look for J.M. Jennings. I'm a little obscure on Amazon, so you might have to dig a bit, but I'm there. And buy everything, burn it digitally, and then buy it again. And
Chad, you're a funny guy. And you are funny.
I try.
You're funny on the Chad Prather Show. If people want to get a direct tap to you,
Chad Prather Show, and of course, my publisher is begging for pages. So if you guys have any witty tomes laying around that are yet unpublished, send them to me. I'll pay you.
Wait, hold on. Am I ghostwriting for you, or are you? Oh, never mind. I was about to say
something funny.
I've got stuff lying around.
I'll do it.
I'll pay you. Trying to write a book called Am I Crazy? I've already given them 70,000 words, and they're like, no, we need some different pages. And I'm like, I'm not going to write a fucking book every time you don't like what you're reading. Jesus Christ.
Whatever. All right.
But anyway, I figure some more pages will buy me in 6 more months. Good.
Hey, Chad, let's text about book stuff, because you and I can talk about that at some point.
I'm going to go on your Amazon page and just grab what I want.
Yeah, go for it.
Renowned Southern comedian / sci-fi author Chad Prather. Man, what a hard left turn his career made. He is so smart. What a expansive mind that dude has.
I'm a Renaissance man.
Yep.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Shit, you guys. Bye.